Okay. First of all, let me get a little record of you, and you tell me who you are and what you're all about and how you got into doing all this stuff here and what it's really all about.
Sure.
Okay, you're on.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Glass. I'm an artist based in New York City who has been drawing jazz for 20 years. And jazz is my passion as much as art is my passion. And these are some of my drawings. And all of my drawings are art by the performers. Dave Brubeck here, who signed this, did not want to sign any autographs that night because everyone was inundating him with pictures of himself. And I did this about 3 years ago at the 92nd Street Y. And he luckily was very kind to me and very gracious. And he signed my piece because he said, wow, this is different, you know.
How long does it take you to do these pieces now?
It takes me about an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know.
So while you're there, you're actually doing...
I'm doing them while they're performing, yeah. And I always get tickets to concerts when I go to theaters about a year in advance so that I could get the best seats so that I could do the sketches. Because I feel that jazz has a level of intimacy that's necessary in order to create drawings that depict the musicians the way they're supposed to be performing. And live has an importance, but also the immediacy of jazz is very important to me. So.
How long have you been into jazz?
Since college, which is about 25 years. You know, I first heard Charlie Parker, and I said, this guy is awesome. I mean, I just, fell in love with his music. I went and I looked at his catalog. I would listen to Phil Schaap every day and Charlie Parker Bird Flight Show, and I went to all the Charlie Parker festivals. And then 5 years into my being into jazz, I vacation every year in the Poconos, and I'm talking to this guy who's into jazz, who owns a gallery on the main street in East Stroudsburg, and he says, you're into Charlie Parker? I said, yeah. He goes, you got to meet my coworker. And I said, who is it? He said, Kim Parker. I said, Kim Parker, relation or no? And he says, yup. He goes, it's his stepdaughter. So I met her, I had dinner with her, and I went to her house that evening, and she showed me a painting he did of when his second child, Pri, had passed. He did this one and only painting that he did of a very sad man, and you could see that it was very naive, but there was such power in it, and I was lucky to have been able to see such a treasure because she was kind of like letting me into her life a little bit, and I feel that a lot of jazz musicians have been gracious to me over the years and sort of like allowing me to learn about who they are as people, and I've become friends with a few of them, and I've given copies of my drawings to all the people I draw, so, you know.
So when did the drawing process begin, during that same period?
It begins when they start playing.
I'm talking about you as an artist doing this work here in terms of jazz. When did all of that start?
Well, in college, I was doing these journalistic drawings of people in elderly homes, and I would take my sketchbook everywhere I went, and my teacher said, go everywhere you go with your sketchbook and draw everything.
So this was an art class that you've been moving through?
Journalistic sketchbook class, taught by Alan E. Kober, who is a famous illustrator from the 1960s, famous for civil rights type drawings of
What school are we talking about now?
University of Buffalo.
Okay.
And I also took classes during the summer at School of Visual Arts, and for the past 13 years I've been taking Art Students League figure drawing from the figure. And I feel like doing those quick gestures of a minute or less is like a way of me to keep sharp, you know, so that I could do these jazz sketches. Because, I mean, it keeps me really loose. And when I'm at the jazz concerts, I have to keep loose because they're not static, they're moving, you know.
Okay. And the next piece?
This is Gerald Clayton, who's a great pianist. His father is a bassist named John Clayton. And Dania Stevens is on sax. Matt Brewer is on bass. Marcus Gilmore is on drums. and Chris Dingman is on vibraphone. And Chris Dingman, I just saw the other day at Zinc Bar, he was doing a tribute to Bobby Hutcherson. And I told him, you got Bobby Hutcherson's spirit, and he's like, do you know I was playing him? And I said, of course I did, you know. And he's like, oh, okay, you know.
And the next piece?
This piece is Omer Avital, with Aaron Goldberg on piano, Joel Fromm on clarinet, and I don't know who the other guys are, but, oh yeah, Jonathan Blake on drums. Jonathan's wife is Rio Sakairi, who is the programmer for the jazz club where I do most of my jazz sketches at Jazz Gallery. And they're moving after this month, after 20 years of being in 290 Hudson Street. And they were originally a performance space for Roy Hargrove, who's my favorite trumpeter, you know.
Okay.
Okay?
Wow, put a lot of energy into this one.
Oh, yeah. This is Paul Motion, who died about a year ago. He would play once a week every month for Lorraine Gordon over at the Village Vanguard. And I never got a chance to give him a copy of this, but he loved what I was about. He would always look at my drawings, autograph them, and then he'd show them to the other musicians, and he'd say, look what this cat's doing, you know, look at this cat is amazing, you know. He always called me a cat. So it was like I felt like I was appreciated, and he really he played with a lot of emotion, and I hope that this shows that, because like he had this loose and open, airy kind of feel to his drumming, and it was more like, it wasn't structured in a way that I've ever seen any other drummer. I mean, he was like, there was emotion behind every time he hit the hi-hat or any other instrument.
Nice open one.
Yeah.
It's nice.
This is Joe Sanders. What I like about Jazz Gallery, where this was done, is that they try and mix it up with configurations and types of musicians that they have there. This drawing is of 4 basses on the same stage, along with a drummer and a saxophonist. And Joe Sanders was commissioned by Jazz Gallery to create a new sort of configuration for his band, because he's been playing there for over 10 years. And this is Joe Sanders right here. Kind of looks a little Rastafarian, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Next one.
Next one, yeah.
This is Herbie Hancock, and obviously he's not shy about signing his name. Now, what was cool was James Genus, who is the bassist. He was pointing at me in the audience in the intermission, before he left for the intermission. He pointed at me, and he goes like this. He goes like this. You know, so he was like honoring my drawing. And then when I went backstage, the guy wouldn't let me go backstage, but James was like, no, this guy's cool, you know. So me and my friend got to meet Herbie and talk to him in the green room. This is Trevor Lawrence, and I'm making copies of this right now to give to the musicians. So, but I feel lucky to have been able to see Herbie Hancock. I mean, he's to me, there are 2 60s pianists. There's Herbie Hancock and there's Oscar Peterson. And I know there are a lot of others, but I mean, I feel like those 2 are the most important for, you know, jazz. Next one.
Yeah.
This is Robbie Coltrane. Robbie is a good friend of mine. He was playing at Zinc Bar to sharpen up for his last album. And Jerry Allen is on piano, James Genus on bass again, and this is Ralph Alessi. And this is one of my favorite young drummers. His name's Eric Harland. They're all amazing musicians on their own right, and Robbie just kicks up his game as the longer he plays, the better he gets. And I feel like if he didn't have the name Coltrane, that he would be more famous than he really is, because he's so talented, and he just doesn't get it. It's not even a question of whether he's John Coltrane's son. He's just an amazing player on his own, you know. Next one.
Mm-hmm.
This is Holly Roth. This I did in one set, but I like the looseness of it.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it takes me 2 sets to do drawing, but this was at Zinc Bar again. And what I like about Zinc Bar is they feature as many female performers as they do male, because jazz used to be very male-dominated, music, but I feel like less and less it's becoming less like that, that there are just as much women in jazz as there are men. And Holly is one of those people I met at a club. She said, come see one of my acts, so I followed her on Facebook and just go and see her whenever I can. Next one, this is Monica Aloe, and this is her Brazilian jazz quintet. This is a guy who's been a friend of mine for a while, Michael O'Brien, the bassist. This is Sandro Albert, Brazilian guitarist. I forgot who the drummer was, but I know the harmonica player is William Gallison, who actually went out with Madeline Peru at one time, but they had a very bitter breakup, and I tried to be sensitive. I said to him, sometimes things don't work out, and he said, you're being too kind. He said, we really had a really bad breakup, so I was like, okay, well, it is what it is, life goes on, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
And the next one is Jean Bertoncini. This is a very interesting drawing only because I like the way I drew Joe Corsello, who is actually a retired cop. He's always been a jazz musician, but he was never able to make a living at it. But now that he's retired, he's able to play the drums 24/7. And he told me he'd get me to meet with Tony Bennett and also Sonny Rollins to one day do their sketches. So that's...
So what do you want to do with this work here?
What I would like to do is continue to have shows, and I have more drawings here.
Okay, well, this is good enough for as a good introduction.
Okay.
So, what do you want me to do for you?
I just want to know if you would like to ever collaborate on a show, to do like photographs and drawings, sort of in the same thing, or if you have people who who own gallery spaces, if you could help me network a little bit, or if you just want to see how I do what I do, like you're doing this video project. If you ever want to do a video project where you film me while I'm drawing a musician, I would be open to that. Or, I really just want my art to get out there. I feel like I've been doing this for a while, but I have about 70 drawings in a drawer, and I've done up to 100 drawings, but 30 of them sold already. And I would like to one day meet Dorothy Kirk, who's over at WBGO, because she has a gallery that she curates over in Newark, New Jersey, and I've been emailing her and she hasn't responded. I don't know why, but I'm working on just doing shows and keeping consistent,
Okay.
and also trying to get to know jazz musicians better so that I can one day draw them in jam sessions and apartments.
So how do people get in touch with you now?
Facebook, Jonathan Glass, JONATHAN GLASS.
Okay.
Facebook is a good way. I post my drawings there.
Okay.
Also, if you want to look at more of my work, you can go to Fountain Gallery, which is on 48th and 9th.
Okay.
And they have a website called fountaingallerynyc.com.
Mm-hmm.
All my a brief page is devoted to my artwork, but generally speaking, I have all my work there. So if you ever want to make an appointment,
So how do people get in touch with you via electronic email stuff?
Either on Facebook or through the gallery director, Jason Bowman, at Fountain Gallery.
Okay.
Email? Yeah, email is jason@fountaingallerynyc.com, and my name is Jonathan Glass. If they want to talk or look at my artwork, you can feel free to contact Jason. He'll make an appointment for me to sit with you and look at all my artwork.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.